Hey, what's up, everybody? Video 44 coming at you in another video. All right, so yeah, Lakers talking about Cam Reddish, and the reason why I want to talk about Cam Reddish is because I was able to watch some highlights on him from his previous two seasons, and heard a quick interview on him, and just hearing what he had to say in regards to the team. He sounded like a serious dude. I think, as I've said to people, and listening to Jackson Hayes and also Cam Reddish now. I just think we got some players coming in who've kind of gotten kicked around by the league. Guys who were high draft picks, but given up on several times over. So these guys, and I'm saying this with good energy, they're gonna have to find their confidence in being NBA players on our team. And the good thing is they came to the right place, because that's exactly what we do here. We help guys find their confidence. We take our time with our prospects, and we don't overreact to the mistakes. Now, some guys, when they can't really play that well, we're going to get them out of here. We know who they are. But guys who are naturally gifted and talented for this game, especially on both sides of the floor, like those two are, we're going to be able to get the most out of them so long as they're willing to put in the work. And so that's what it is, man. I'm happy those guys are here, and I'm looking forward to them having a different tone about themselves in their exit interviews in regards to their confidence. I just want to sense more confidence in a guy like Jackson Hayes. He's better than the role that he's been given in New Orleans. And New Orleans, I don't really love how they developed him. They've done a good job of developing others, but from what I understand, they kind of let his development go by the wayside because they were inheriting other talent. And so they should have moved him earlier, but I'm glad he lands with us, because I think when you think about guys' careers, you want them to get out of a bad situation, and you want them to immediately get into a good situation. Now, I don't know that we have the greatest situation, but I do look at this as a good situation for those type of guys. And so long as they are attentive on working hard and allow their talent to shine, because they are naturally gifted, then we'll be fine. So that's what I got to say. I think Cam Reddish, where he really impressed me, was on the defensive end. Watching his highlights, he is a gifted defensive player, man. He's got some gifted offensive stuff, too. Very gifted offensive stuff, which makes him a two-way potential star. And I'm saying this understanding that he does have some limitations. He's not as wiggly as some of these great super prospects that are coming who do what he does. But he's, in my humble opinion, more sound than some of those guys defensively. More polished than some of those guys offensively, and he should be, because he's older and he's been in the league for 4 years. But the point is, the talent is there on both sides. It's a natural ability that he has. And so I think turning him into a good player ain't going to be hard, because the gift is there. I don't really know what isn't there. Maybe, like I said, some athletic limitations perhaps. But I think he has the ability to turn into one of the better players. Period. He really does. And so that's really what's there for Cam Reddish. It's going to be curious to see how Cam Reddish's season goes versus the rookie Maxwell Lewis. Because I think when you look at both of those players, you think of those guys as two dudes who are going to probably be competing for the 3 spot on our team. I think where Cam Reddish is always going to have Maxwell beat is defense. You're going to always be able to trust Cam on the defensive end. They're both going to be able to hit some of the same buckets. They're both going to be able to get to the cup. Maxwell is significantly more athletically gifted, though. Significantly more. But they're going to hit some of the same fadeaway shots. They're going to hit some of the best catch and shoot. See, what we now have are two guys in those two that are just naturally gifted threes. Like shooting small forwards, just naturally gifted, should be able to roll out of bed and get you scoring buckets easy. How much of a luxury was it for us to have a guy like Malik Monk? That's what comes to mind, because Malik Monk is a gifted basketball player. He can shoot baskets all day long, no matter what's going on. He's one of them dudes that can always get a bucket. Talented, just supremely talented scoring the ball. I think Cam Reddish and Maxwell Lewis have that gift. I think both of these dudes have that gift. I don't know if they have it on Malik's level, because Malik's level is really, really, really special. But they're both extremely talented shooting the ball from 3 levels. And so I'm excited about using both of those guys in certain lineups. I want to see which one rises to the top to take over. I want to see who has the confidence. Obviously, I'm not weighing them the same because the rookie's a rook. But those are the two players. That's going to be the battle of our team, in my opinion, in regards to who's going to take those backup small forward minutes. Who's going to be the guy that Darvin trusts between the two of them? Because that's going to be a big question for me. Vanderbilt, his value on this team is concerning because I just don't know where the minutes are going to come from unless we are putting him on the floor to do specific things on the defensive end. But we got too many guys who are shot makers that are going to ultimately be taking some of those minutes from Vando, who doesn't hit shots. So if I were Vanderbilt, I'd be working with lethal shooter right now. I'd be working with shooters to get it so that corner three is something that I'm really confident in, because as long as he can hit that shot, we could justify putting him on the floor. But this ain't last year. What that means is we got more guys at his height who are going to be able to hit those shots. And with Jackson Hayes being there, as I said, Cam Reddish being there, there are also some talented defensive guys. And so, Anthony Davis going to obviously eat up most of his own minutes, obviously. And Austin Reeves going to play some three. So it's like, that three spot is going to be important. I think Rui's got the 4 down pat after 80 sits down. So, I expect for them to start getting more minutes because of the fact that they got paid. And, I'm not a fan of that, to be honest with you. But in the case of Rui Hachimura and Austin Reeves, I want them on the floor, not just because they got paid, but because they're better. We're better when we have them on the floor. My biggest complaint with Rui last year was his minutes. It wasn't his play. He was great. I didn't think we played him enough. In these playoffs that just passed, where he was just completely hyper efficient with the minutes given for a good 80% of the games on the floor in the playoffs. I mean, he was spectacular for us, and we hid that. And I think it cost us some games too. It may even cost us a series. Not playing him enough against the Nuggets, not utilizing his offensive weaponry more so. So this year, he's on a nice contract that's eating up a comfortable portion of our cap, but a sizable one for the role. I want to see him get that role, and I expect good things from him. I want him to continue to work on his floor vision. Those are his biggest weakness, in my opinion, is passing and floor vision. It can't just be bull in a china shop. He got to be looking to make plays for others, just like they're looking to make plays for him. And if he continues to keep his mind open about that, I love the fact that he's going to attack from the mid-range in a certain way that most aren't, just by the way of how he was raised and how he plays the game. And I think he's fantastic at it, and we're investing in it, and I'm happy about that. So that is what I'm saying there in regards to Rui Hachimura. I'm thrilled to have him back. Let's see. Christian Wood, Bol, we're still waiting for that. Still waiting for something to fall there. From what I understand, according to the Kareem report, whom I follow sometimes, he was saying that the word is that Christian Wood would like to be a Laker, but there's a better deal on the table. Now, I don't know how much truth that holds based on not only just the fact that this is not coming from someone I know, but when stuff like that is floating around, sometimes that other option ain't actually there. A guy like Christian Wood will tell you he has another team, and his representation will tell you they have another team with a bigger offer. But unless you can confirm that, that may just be there to help you understand that they have other options that they may or may not actually have. So I look at this and I say it's up to the Lakers what they want to do. Obviously, Bol has his options just like Christian Wood does. I think there's about I check Twitter every day. I mean, not Twitter, but Instagram every day, and make sure I'm on just about every team's feed looking at their fans. And I think about there's a good third of the league that wants Bol on their team. And that's why it's so weird for the Orlando Magic to waive him. Because even if you don't necessarily think of him as a big prospect or a high-level prospect in any way, the demand on him socially to be on teams should make him a demandable trade piece. And I think the temperature needs to be taken in regards to that. I'm taking that temperature, and I'm telling you, a third of the league's fan bases want that kid on their team, whether he can play or not. And so I personally think his team should pick a good development franchise, because that's what he needs, is a team that's going to believe in him and a team that's developing players. And he needs to look around at the Los Angeles Lakers and realize we have a roster full of them dudes. And he would just fit right in, and he would get the same development that they're going to get, and probably the same opportunity to be better than he was floating around the league in the Nuggets and the Celtic, and of course an Orlando Magic uniform. So I think he should join Jackson Hayes over here. I really do believe that. I think he should join Jackson Hayes, take that veteran, whatever money, the minimum money that would be available, and prove himself, to continue to prove himself to be a good player, because I think he's shown me enough to know that I can count on blocks and points out of him, if nothing else. Blocks, points. And that's early. That's in his early development. So I already see where the stats balloon if you just let him become who he's going to become. With his shooting ability, his dribbling ability, his length, and his willingness to block shots, there's really nothing else that I need to see and otherwise need to know to get him on the team. There's nothing. There's nothing. And Christian Wood's defensive issues take away from that, and a great deal of emphasis on Christian Wood will be put on the offensive end, which is great. But I can also see offensive upside with a guy like Bol, especially if I have him shooting in rhythm and pulling off all the different things that he can pull off. And see, that's the thing. When I see his mechanics, all I say is they didn't feed him enough. When you see a guy do stuff that he does, it's like just give him the ball more. That's really it. And if you choose not to give him the ball more, then of course his stats are going to be 9 points, 2 blocks, 3 rebounds, 15 minutes. Because he's been on the floor and you're giving the ball to other people. But when he gets the ball, he does something spectacular. He gets the ball, he does something spectacular. And it's like when I see enough of this in small increments, all that tells me is that the team that has him ain't giving him enough increments. You're not seeing him get the ball enough, and so that's really what it comes down to. He needs to be featured more, and he needs to be given more opportunities to play various positions on the floor, 2, 3, and 4. I don't know if he's a 1. I don't know about all that, but would I hesitate to put him in a guard spot? Not at all. He's a jump shooter who dribbles the ball. He just so happens to be tall. Play him at the guard spot and see don't you get the most out of him, and see don't the other team have a hard time trying to guard him. They have a hard time trying to guard him. And that's another thing that frustrates me about this. It's like, you know how much of a mismatch that player is just by being able to dribble the ball at the height that he is. He's a mismatch. It's going to be very difficult for people to match up with him. And the fact that he's a natural, comfortable guard at 7'3" should not be something that you poo-poo and run away from just because he's not a center. It's still going to translate to you having somebody that tall on the floor, even if he's playing the 2, the 3, 4. He's going to still find himself in positions to deflect and do various things to block shots, help rim protection, no matter what position he's in, just from the sheer ability for him to cover so much space so quickly. And as he gets in better shape, he's going to be able to even cover even more space. So all of these things are like people telling me, nah, we don't want him. I'm like, what are you talking about? Do you know this dude could probably stride 3 steps for your every one? Like for every 1 step he has, it's like 3 of your steps. If you're an average height person and you talking about you don't want this player on your team, like I don't even understand I don't understand where the naysayers for Bol on the Lakers side fan base really even coming from. I don't even understand where you're coming from. I don't understand it. If you've seen what I've seen, there's nothing not to like. You just need to put this player on your team and not let anything else keep you from doing so. And then keep him there until he turns into what it is you want him to turn into. And that's it. Not give up on him like every other team has. And that's it. That's literally it. Just choose not to give up on him and you'll be fine. That's how I feel about Bol. So unless he has some behavioral issues or something that would keep people from wanting to be around him in the locker room, if he's disruptive in any way that would make it so that he can't be a pro, and that's a whole nother conversation that hasn't been brought to us at all. But people giving up on a prospect who can do what he can do is not something that I think the Lakers should do. Just let them do that and we'll take him and we'll figure it out. So that's what I'm hopeful we'll do. The presence of Christian Wood is great, but I'll harken back to something that is very, very poignant in my memory. Did we not take Lonzo Ball over De'Aaron Fox and Jason Tatum because he was a hometown kid? We did that, didn't we? We regretted it. We regretted it a lot, didn't we? Yes, we did. All right, that's all I have to say about that. So let's make the right decision. I like Christian Wood, kinda. I like Bol a hell of a lot, and that is it. And I think if we develop Bol Bol into what he's supposed to, we could probably trade him for 3 or 4 first-round picks if for some reason we don't want him on our team. Because that's what he should develop into if we do what we're supposed to do. So, that's what I got to say, man. That's what I got to say. I'm sick of people giving up on people who can do things that most people can't do. He can't shoot. Yeah, but he can jump higher than all humans. So teach him how to shoot. So we're talking about like with Amen Thompson. Like, bro, I don't care. Have you seen how fast this person darts around human beings? You talk about people whose first step you're excited about. Man, ain't nobody first step faster than Amen Thompson's. I ain't seen a single soul's first step faster than that. So that's what I want to tell people, man. Like, you about to see some athleticism in this league that's going to help you understand that this is a new day. And if you don't have players that are quick enough laterally to keep up with some of these dudes, they're going to be moving around really good defenders like they're cones, man. Some of the influx of some of these dudes that are fast as hell, your Jet Howards, Amen and Asur, you know, guys like Cam Whitmore, you're going to see how easy it is for them to score the basketball in this league. You're going to find out. Because I'm already seeing it. It's like, oh, okay. that's it's like we all gonna be shocked by Wemby's length and how quickly he's gonna be able to get superstar numbers in this league. People are like, oh, it's gonna take him a year. No, it ain't. No, it ain't. Nah, it ain't gonna take no year for that dude to look like a superstar. No, he gonna look like a superstar by January. I guarantee you that. That's an absolute guarantee. If he ain't hurt by January, he gonna be an all-star by January. Just telling people right now, it's the floor for Wembanyama is basically some all-star player, basically. So, yeah, we'll see it. You're going to see it manifest, and you're going to understand all 29 of you teams that didn't take Bol Bol. You're going to understand why this was the absolute worst year for the Orlando Magic to do this. The absolute worst year for them to give up on a prospect like that. So, hey, man, it is what it is. That's why I want the Lakers to get on top of this right now. Don't think about nothing else. Christian Wood is great, but not nearly as great as Bol Bol's upside. Not even close. Not even the same caliber when you consider it. So that's why I'm telling Christian Wood, thank you, bro. I'm glad you want to be here, man. And if Bol Bol decide he don't want to be here, you're the last man on the roster, man. You come on through. And we're happy to have you. You know what I'm saying? It ain't going to be a situation where we're like, damn, Bol Bol ain't here. Nah, I ain't doing that with the kid that we picked up at 17 because Cam Whitmore was on the board. We ain't going to do that. We just understand when you have a better option, you take the better option. If the better option ain't there, you take the second best option. That's it. And so the Lakers already made that mistake once. Humbly, I say this because it wasn't really a mistake when you consider all there was to consider. But at the end of the day, it's a better player on the board. Whatever. We already did that once. Let's not do that. Let's not do that. Now, let's not do that with Christian Wood and Bol Bol. Let's not. So that's all I got to say, man. I'll be happy to have Christian Wood. You know what I mean? I want to make that clear. But Bol Bol bet not be on the board when we get him. Video 44. I'll take you off watch.